Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again, and today I come with a new response from my enemies, right? They tell me I should fight. They tell me, don't be weak, fight. And they taunt me with the names of my brother and my niece because they want me to know that they got to my brother who left home when I was, what, like 10 years old? What, maybe 12? He left home and joined the army, you know? And he never lived with us again. I saw him on Christmas and Easter. He made something of himself. He's a dentist, right? They want me to fight my brother who's a stranger to me, right? I'm not going to fight my brother. Why? Why not fight my brother? Um, because I don't see him as my enemy, even if he said something against me, you know? Um, these people, they got into other people and they told them stories. They told them stories that would provoke them to rage. They told them stories that would move them, you know? Like with Dr. Bob, they told him that I had not done all my work in my other courses and that he should give me an incomplete. And he was the only person who gave me an incomplete. I did all my work. Let me tell you about that last semester at IIT, right? I was pregnant. I was at full term. I took my last final in labor. I was in labor. And then I had to drive myself home, and I'm calling my child's grandmother who's watching him, and I'm asking her to keep him. And she's like, you better come get your child. And I'm like, I'm in labor. I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, no, you better come get your child. I'm not keeping him. And I'm like, wow. So I go home with my child in full labor, trying to make it to the next morning. Trying my hardest because if I can make it till 6 a.m., if I can make it till 6 a.m., I can drop Coda off at daycare. The daycare center will take him, you know? Grandma only had him because Wednesday's my late night. It was my last final. And the daycare center, it closed at, what, like 5? So Grandma had to pick him up, right? She picked him up for that one day a week, right? I better get my child even though I'm in full labor. So I take Coda home, and by like 9, 10 o'clock, I am like, I cannot bear this anymore. So I call my mama, and I beg her to come and watch Dakota for me. And she's like, yes, I'm coming. And then she gets there, and she's like, you got to take him to his other grandmother's house, because I'm coming with you. And I'm like, Ma, she won't keep him. And she's like, no, she has to keep him. And I'm like, Ma, she won't keep him. Can you just watch him so I can go and deliver this child? And Ma's refusing. She's like, no, you're not having a baby by yourself. And I'm like, Ma, come on. I can't take it anymore. So, it's 10 o'clock at night at this point. And I'm like, all right, I'll try to make it. I'm going to make it till 6 a.m. I got to make it till 6 a.m. when the daycare center opens. I'll try, you know? And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And man, it hurts so much. I go in the bathroom, and I use the bathroom, and I check myself, and I feel the head. And I said, Mama, we can't wait no more. We got to go. Please, please keep Coda for me. Please. And she's refusing. She's like, you can't drive yourself to the hospital. It was quite a scene. So like it's 1:30ish. I'm dropping Coda off at his other grandmother's. I'm not even calling them to ask them. I'm ringing the bell like crazy. Grandpa opens the door, and I'm just going, take him. And I go to the hospital, and they look at me, and I'm in full labor, and they're like, you don't look like a woman in labor. And I'm like, because I've been holding it. I've been struggling. I got used to the pain. I'm in labor. The head is coming. So they take me up. They put me in a room, and they're like, we'll check you. Just get undressed. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This baby's coming now. So I whip my clothes off and throw this gown on. I'm like, come here. And she's like at the door. And I'm like, no, get over here. And then she's like, oh, goodness, the head is out. The head is out. And she's like, doctor. And they run in the room, and they catch Olivia as she's bouncing across the table. It was quite a sight, right? But in all of this, I completed my last final. I had all my work turned in before this. Believe me, I was feeling those contractions before that. And I was just praying with God, God, let me make it through. 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 And then, so I make it through. And then afterwards, because, last final was on Wednesday. Saturday, we march in graduation. And then Monday, I find out that I have an incomplete from Dr. Bob. All this hard work and dedication that I did so that I could complete my degree and hopefully get a good job after graduation. All this stuff that I had to put up with where I had no support and no help, and I still had to, fulfill all of my obligations. I had to, complete all of my work. There was no mercy for me. And even with Dr. Bob, who I had all my work turned in, he said it was satisfied the week before, had now changed his mind and decided that, I needed to do something. But after hearing that, hey, all my work's done. I delivered my child. I took my last final in labor. You're done. You're done, kid. But, if you hear one narrative saying she doesn't have any of her work done, she's getting incomplete in all her classes, and you realize, hey, this girl's in labor, she maybe doesn't have all her work done. You get that thought in your mind, but you've known me for 2 years before this. You've had me in all of my classes, right? You know how dedicated I am. You know how I'm very diligent with my work, and I like to meet my deadlines. And I do the best I can. And I pulled straight A's in all my classes. You know me, so when you hear, oh, Jessica's not doing her work, BS. Do you know how dedicated Jessica was in the face of everything? Being in labor in my last final, and I still took it, Do you know how dedicated I was, how willing I was to hold out when I was in labor and I had to go pick up my child because he is my first obligation out there, right? When I'm in full labor and I'm begging my mama and she's telling me no because she wants to see my daughter be born. When I'm in full labor and I'm still trying to meet my obligations, put my priorities. No. You don't tell me what my character is, right? You tricked Dr. Bob into believing something that wasn't true. When Dr. Bob had known me for 2 years and knew how committed I was to success. Because I didn't have an option. I now have 2 kids where their father isn't around. Same father, by the way. But he's not going to be around, I have 2 kids I got to take care of on my own. And the support that I have, it won't even help when there's an emergency like the birth of a baby. Where, no, it's not okay. And if you could twist Dr. Bob like that, Lord knows what you said to my brother. Dr. Bob knew me. From the story I just told you, you should know how committed I am when I commit myself to doing something. You should know. I do it. I take care of my responsibilities and I don't wimp out. If I can't do something, I have a disability, right? If I can't do something, I literally cannot do something. When I put my mind to something and I want to do it, even if I'm in labor, if I'm in full labor, I'm going full speed ahead and praying to God, just help me make it through. Give me the strength, Help me, God. Help me keep it together, I'm going to pray to God and God's going to help me, just like he strengthened Samson when Samson had his eyes put out and they crippled him and they put him in prison and God said, just give me strength. Just help me. Just help me. These are the prayers that God answers. Do you understand? God answers his prayers, God answers my prayers, right? He will give me the strength. This is something that he will do, right? But this point over here, where I got sick when I was in grad school, where my muscles were so thick that I couldn't walk, so stiff, when my words don't work anymore, when I lose my ability to articulate what I want to say, when my vocabulary is shrunk down to seriously, when I can't put my words together, when I'm writing a paper and I'm missing huge sections of what I'm trying to say and I can't get my point across, when my vision's going out, I'm praying to God to help me, but God's not helping me and I'm going, why aren't you helping me, God? And then, I learned that God didn't want me to be a part of something. I learned who these people were that I was learning from. I learned especially that last semester when I'm praying to God, just let me get my degree. I got so much invested here. I'll work it out, God. I'll work it out. Just let me get my degree, because he told me to get away from them. But I didn't listen because it was my last semester. I was like, I can endure it, God. Just let me get my degree. But it didn't matter, It wasn't. And these people, they were going to stalk me through, And they were never going to give me the opportunity to put my degree to work. They were going to stalk me and reach out, go before me and find out, where am I working? And they were going to give me trouble there. How do I know? Because I used to work at this little company called Best Brains, and they used to play with my paychecks all the time. They would hold out for a month, and then my last paycheck from the last time that I worked there, I got like several more paychecks than I should have. Like, I should have had one final check, and they sent like 5 final checks, Like, what were they doing? Trying to put me to the test to see if I'll take this, and then it's fraud because this is not money that I've earned, But just the way that they undermined and sabotaged me, How was I supposed to get to work when they were holding out my paycheck for a month, How was I supposed to feed my kids? Because that's what I'm working for, to take care of my children, Trying to give them a better life, always trying. But, then it wasn't just the paychecks that they were messing with. It was the way that they were treating me. It was the rumors that they were spreading, It was, ugh. When they start treating you as if you're someone that you're not, like you're some petty, vindictive, scammer, when they start treating you like this and you're over here doing a good job, giving all you can, learning, because, my brain doesn't work anymore. I can't do math anymore very well. But I found that if I learn the stuff before I have to teach it, I can remember for long enough to teach it to the kid. Ask me the next day, I won't remember how I got to the answer. But I had to retrain myself, because my intelligence is still there. I'm still a very quick learner, but my memory is like shot, And these things, God let me be broken, right? He let me be broken. I couldn't overcome them. I couldn't get around them. And it's not, I don't fault God for it. It's an understanding that, look at what they're doing. God doesn't want me to be a part of this nonsense, He doesn't want me to be a part of it. He doesn't want me to give power to it, because mine is the power of a covenant. God hasn't got a covenant with someone in how long? Who was the last covenant? Even the Christian Messiah, Jesus, he's not running on his own covenant. He's running on, the covenant of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? He's running on their stuff, right? He's not running on his own. I have my own. That's why the Jews are like, a Messiah. I'm like, no, not the Messiah. New covenant. What I commit to. What I can you be a woman in labor taking your last final? Can you hold the baby in you when she's in the birth canal, trying to make it for 6 a.m.? You make it till about 2. Well, almost 2. You make it to that far, but could you do it? Could you do it and still take care of your other child, and try to reason with people, Could you do it? I don't think you can. I don't think there's many people who can. But I know that the only reason why I could do it is because I have a God. The only reason why I could do it is because I've got a God. And I know that if God doesn't, put me out there with these people, if he doesn't allow the door, yeah, they're working stuff behind the scenes. They're crippling me and sabotaging me and undermining me. But you know what? God still provides, right? God still provides. And he doesn't want me with these people. Don't give power to these people, because they don't do good things with it. I'm an American citizen, never mind the Torah and faith and all this, never mind this. I have rights. I have a right to due process, When someone is a criminal and they get a trial, the accused has rights. And even after they're convicted of a crime and they go to jail, when they're in jail, they have rights. And when they come out of jail, they have a right. You know, they have a right still. You can't go spreading rumors about them. You can't, even if the guy's a sex offender, you can't hang a poster outside his house on a pole and say this guy's a sex offender because he has rights. But me, in the shadow system of government, I don't have any rights. There's no due process. There's no separation of powers. These people are the accuser. They're the investigator. They're the judge. They're the jailer. There's no mercy and there's no hope for redemption. So you want to know why God won't let me be with them? Because they're lawless and they're just trying to kill people. They suck the life out of people. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot give this kind of power to people. This is why, we have the Constitution that we have. The people that formed our government, they didn't just sit down with some philosophers and say, this is what we're going to do. Over here with John Locke, his philosophy is the underpinning of our Constitution, they say. But no, we didn't just sit down with a philosopher and figure it out. We came out of something. And because we came out of something, we said we're not going to do this to people. We're going to say that all men are created equal. That you don't have a right to just accuse someone and strip their life away. We're going to say that government has to have a separation of powers. We're going to say that there's 3 branches. We got a legislative, we got an executive, and we got a judicial. And there's going to be a system of checks and balances to protect from injustice. But no, these people don't have that on their side. They don't have any of that. They're Nazis, to tell you the truth. To tell you the absolute truth. They operate like Nazis. They have people doing whatever they say. This Milgram experiment, that every person who takes psychology, that intro to psychology course, learns about this Milgram experiment where they shock people, right? And what the whole experiment is basically to see how far you can push a person to hurt another person, and basically to see what motivates, right? So if a person's in uniform making the request, shock this guy, they might do it out of obedience. The person's suffering, but it's about the test, We can't let the test fail. You have to shock them, to make the experiment the thing that's more important than your morality, than your filter, to say, I won't hurt another person, to make this test more important. And you'll participate because you want to be part of it, because you are part of it and you want it to be successful. So you'll go and push the button and shock them, right? Person's dying, they'll still shock them. And then they come up with another motivation for them. They tell them that this guy's a criminal, If the person's refusing to shock them, like, no, this is too much, we're going to kill this guy. You go and tell him something bad. Go ruin the guy's reputation, and it's very few people who won't press the button. This is the nature of humanity. This test, it was devised to figure out how the Nazis got people to do what they did. And then they took these means as they go around ruining my reputation around me. They took these means, these tactics, and they put them into play right here in America. Right here in America. Constitution don't matter. We know how to move people. There's no justice there. They know how to move people. They know how to avoid accountability. They like I said, they operate from a twisted form of Torah. They show people kindness. They always show a nice face. They keep their appearance neat and tidy. They stay clean. They dress and say Gucci, They give the appearance of an upper class. But really, they are completely lacking in morality and ethics. They have no filter. All they care about is meeting their agenda, their goal. They don't care who they hurt. They don't even care what the goal is, really. If the goal was to kill someone, they wouldn't mind getting involved. Why? Because it's who they were groomed to be. It's who they were trained to be. And you maybe don't understand that, but it's the truth. you know. And when we give all this credit and this power to them, when we say defund the police and put mental health workers in there, you don't even know who you're putting in there. You don't know what order they operate from. You see this nice smile, this clean-cut appearance, this eloquent vocabulary, and you think this guy is the solution to your problems. But man, this is the nightmare. This is the guy that's going to keep getting drunk on his power and it's going to lock you all up in FEMA camps. All that fear that all you conspiracy theorists are running out there saying that, you know, the Constitution's going to be undermined. Do you know who's going to do it? These guys. You know, you got to be real careful because the table you set, you got to eat from. So if you don't know how people operate, if you don't know their motivations, if you don't know their nature, their character, if you don't understand that people can move you just by putting on a suit, they can move you to do wrong, and it's not about right or wrong, it's about power and control. It's what can they move you to do, you know? When you understand these things, you don't want to be a part of them. I understand why God took me out. I understand why God afflicted me. I understand why God held me back. And they want me to fight my brother. No. My brother is gullible. If that's his sin, he's gullible. You know, if he said anything against me, and I wouldn't even really want to call him gullible, because I wouldn't want to ruin his reputation or damage his character. These people, like I said, in this Milgram experiment, it is very, like 3 people, a very small sample of the population that they were using to conduct this test. Very, very minuscule amount of people that wouldn't push the button. I mean, they'd have to have my character. You know, seriously, and not many people have my character. Not many people can be hungry and say, no, I don't want you. I don't want your money. You keep it. You stay away from me. I'm not giving you power. I'm not resting under you because I ain't lifting you up. You are bad people. You're doing bad things. You're ruining the nation. You know, not many people can be hungry and say that to somebody, but I can. Why? What gives me confidence to do something like that? And I'll tell you what gives me confidence. I have a God. I know my God. I have faith in my God that He will provide. He will deliver me. You know, He has done it before, and if He did it before, He'll do it again. You know, I went in the grocery store with no money, just a couple dollars in my pocket and asking for a discount so I can get milk and salami. I've done this, and God sent people to me to buy me groceries. You know, I went in the store with money where they cut off my cards so that they wouldn't work, and God made things free for me. You know, I've been blessed by people who just come up and give me money before. You know, saying that God told them to do it. You know, you don't know me. You don't know my God. I don't have to bow to you because I'm going to lift Him up and He's going to take care of me. I'll rest under His shadow because He's my God, you know. And I said, never mind faith and all this. Let me explain this to you. But let me tell you how you overcome all these things is through faith. Because you're not going to be able to say no when you're hungry if you don't have faith in God that He's a provider. You know, there are some things that you need to learn or you're not going to survive these people. You know, our government is not keeping us. The judges bow to them. You know, our government is not taking care of us. The policymakers, they protect them. You know, they give them more power. They control public opinion, so they push for things like defund the police and put mental health workers instead. And what you don't know about these people, man, when they're making these pushes, they know it's not the answer, but they need somebody. They need somebody to make accountable for the mess of the world, you know. So they say, let's do this, even though they know that these tactics don't work. Because, you know, when I was in school 10 years ago, they were trying to put social work out of business. They were saying we don't need social work anymore, you know. Even in the field of psychology, they were saying you have to prove that you're actually helping people, because they weren't actually helping people, you know. They weren't. People were becoming lifelong patients. Because when you introduce manipulation to people, you might be able to subdue them, but you can't help them live. You know, you might be able to subdue this part of them, but you can't help them live. Like, you might be able to make their performance better, like with industrial organizational psychology. Yeah, I took courses in that too. You can change the lighting of a place, or change the color of the walls, and you could improve productivity. Yeah, that's beneficial to know for society, except for when you're improving all this productivity and you're not giving your workers the benefit in their wages of this increased productivity. You're defrauding people through tricks of psychology. The income is stagnant. There hasn't been much growth there in comparison with inflation and the cost of living. So you got to back up and understand the things that they say that benefit the world. It has a price to it, and we all pay the price. We become more productive, but we don't reap any reward for it. There's no harvest for it. We need to start being mindful of these things, because we're giving up our lives to these people, and they're defrauding us. They're taking everything from us. They're beating us down and making us look like we're the bad guys. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not legal. It's against the Constitution. Who's going to fix it? My lawmakers in office, my president in office, president in office right now, Biden, they came after his son for tax stuff, and they just keep on going after this guy, right? He paid the taxes. They're still going after him. They're still digging and trying to make a case. They're still doing things. But they're doing things because they want to shake Biden. And it's not okay to shake the leader. It's not okay to target this guy just to get at his father. And some people will say, but he's a criminal. Well, wait a minute. We've all made mistakes in our life. We've all had hard times in our life. This was a long time ago. There's no debt to it. He paid his taxes. You got to have some mercy somewhere. And let's not put all this stress on our president when he's got other business to worry about, when he's got wars around the world to worry about, when he needs to manage our economy, when he needs to work with other people. You know how hard it is to work with other people when they keep compounding pressure on pressure on pressure on someone, especially when you got to manage a whole nation? Come on, the table you allow to be set is the table you eat from. And maybe Biden managed it well, but you see in his language where he calls somebody out by the wrong name, or he has a little stumble. You see in places where he's shaken, and we want to call it age, but I don't think it's age. I think it's pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure. Let's see how much we can pile on him so he collapses. No, let's protect our president and say, don't do this nonsense. This is America. He paid it. We have mercy here. We don't want to punish people. We just want to put people on the right path to do right? Forget this nonsense. When you can stand up and be a leader and set a good example and correct people when they're wrong, you'll make the world a better place, because people will follow your lead. Fix this stuff. Don't let them target people's children to get at them. You've suffered it yourself. Over here in Congress and with Donald Trump, you know what? This business that they're doing where they dug and dug and dug, and they went through a microscope and they hired all these forensic accountants and all this stuff. How long ago was this? People are not the same. And would you be doing this if he was not running for president? Would you be doing all this? The money is paid back. Why are you doing this? You just want a piece of Donald Trump. It's wrong, But the table that you allow to be set, when you give these people permission to go all hog wild on others, is going to come up to you, because they have no filter. They have no filter when it comes to children. They have no filter when it comes to the elderly. They have no mercy in them. They just want to devour others. And if you up here don't fix it, maybe you didn't care when it was down here, but now it's up here in your face, please fix the mess. If you want somebody to vote for you, don't tell me how bad Biden is. Don't tell me how bad Trump is. Tell me the plan you have to fix the mess. To my friends in the Supreme Court, same thing. You're letting people run you. You're being flip-flopped back and forth. And there's this thing where the Constitution was given to limit the power of government has over people, right? And you've allowed government to gain so much power that we too too much power. Not only that is you allow the government to operate through private firms, through private companies, through private branches. The justice system isn't even handled in the courts. It's handled in the schools. It's handled in the doctor's office. This is where your case is presented, you're judged, you're sentenced, you are convicted over and over and over again. They have no concept of double jeopardy. They just keep going. They shouldn't have this power. This power belongs to the courts, right? So, where even in the court it's divided. The judge is not prosecutor and defender. We got all kinds of separations of powers. If you don't clean up your mess, if you don't fix your mess, they're coming for you too, right? Clarence Thomas, guy with the wife who got in trouble over things, over the gifts that you get. You can't even have friends who are wealthy who do good things for you. They want to eat you for things, right? And I'm not saying that you receiving these gifts are right. I don't know the nature of your relationship, and it's truthfully not my business. But the fact that they came after you like this says something, right? I'm not saying that you should be above reproach, but I am saying that there should be limits to power in who they have coming after you, and what they're allowed to do with you. I'm not defending you.